plug cord, the killer had taken the white-coated wire and connected it to a metal grate with the proportions of an undersized welcome mat. This he placed on the concrete slab in front of the door. Then all he had to do was plug the cord back into the wall and wait. Jack Renner, homicide detective with more secrets than most of his suspects, had materialized at her elbow without a sound. It made her start, but not as much as it used to. Jack was tall, dark, decidedly not handsome, and a killer. She knew that, and yet told no one, a fact that, even after 6 months, still astounded her when she woke to it each morning. "I get it," he said aloud. When she stepped on the grounded plate and then touched the handle, her body completed the circuit. His partner, Thomas Riley, stared down at the body. "I'd expect more. Wouldn't she, burst into flames?" Maggie raised one eyebrow at him, and his fair skin colored until he protested, "Well, we had a guy on a construction site who got tangled in a live wire, and he wound up practically cut in half." "She's got the mark on her hand, and she'll probably have a similar scorch on one or both of her feet," Maggie said. They couldn't move or examine the body until an investigator from the medical examiner's office arrived. "That's fairly typical. Electrocutions can vary quite a bit, depending on how much power and where it goes. Frankly, it seems like an iffy method of murder." Jack said, "Maybe. Wearing those probably helped." He gestured to the woman's fashionable shoes. Thin soles, no rubber, plus it rained last night. Maggie examined the grate and the concrete slab without touching it, though the fire department had already pulled the plug from the outlet. The surface had sagged over the years, caving until grime accumulated in its shallow depth, providing the perfect resting spot for the grate. It was already dirty, so she didn't notice the grate against the dark area. He could have even brushed some leaves over to disguise it, but wouldn't it have been humming? How did it not set the house on fire? "They're not touching, the screen door and the grate." Riley stepped closer and pointed to the door's sill, 2 inches above the ground. "Each one alone is static, perfectly safe until she grabs the screen door handle and completes the circuit." "Exactly. Then she dies, gravity takes over, her body falls back, her hand pulls away. The circuit is broken, and the door goes back to being a mere door. No fire, no sparking, no wildly zinging electric meter. Kind of ingenious, really." He caught her look. "Don't glare. It's, definitely different. Iffy, like you said. If that light worked, and she noticed the wires, if the leaves blew away so she wondered why there was a metal grate in front of her door, if she had been wearing tennis shoes or felt some static just before she touched the latch, or if some unlucky UPS guy came to drop off a package, assuming she left the outer gate unlocked during the day, anyone could have wandered in here. Or if the outlet had a ground fault interrupter, it might not have worked." Maggie glanced toward the covered outlet, under which the cord lay among the scattered leaves. After nearly being blown up a few weeks earlier, she knew everything she had ever wanted to know about ground fault interrupters. Frost-free refrigerators don't plug into outlets with GFIs because of the freezing warming cycles. Aren't they 220? "A small one like that? I don't know," Riley said. "Even 110 could have killed her. What with the wetness, thin shoes, no gloves, and at her age, her heart might not be that great anymore. She's 62, 8 years older than me, and my doc's already giving me a hard time about cholesterol and coronary arteries, so electrocution might have seemed a pretty safe bet as methods of murder go." "Please don't sound so admiring," Maggie said without meaning it. By now she knew Thomas Riley better than that. He continued as if she hadn't spoken, still thinking the scenario through. "Even if it didn't work, he wasn't out a lot of work or effort. He didn't have to enter the house or bring anything with him except wire strippers and this metal grate, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss CSI, doesn't seem to have a spot on it wide enough to get a decent print from." Maggie looked again at the latticework of metal strips, none more than perhaps an 1/8 inch wide. "Probably not, no, especially after the rain." "Or the plug?" "Rubber-covered and exposed to the elements? Unlikely. I'll swab for contact DNA, but if he wore gloves—" "And he's an idiot if he didn't. So he doesn't set up a slam dunk, but then he doesn't leave us any clues either. Unless our dead lady..."